If you're a recruit or the parent of a recruit, you know that reaching out to college coaches is one of the most important steps in the process. But figuring out what to say to break the ice, that trips a lot of people up. And that's why I've partnered with Athlete Narrative. Athlete Narrative designed the Recruiter app to help athletes send clear, concise, and personalized emails to college coaches. Here's how it works. You start by filling out your radar page. Think of this as your digital resume. It's going to have your personal info, accolades, interests, and links to your game film. Then you use the Recruiter app to search for schools that match your interests. Once you find some schools, simply tap on a coach's name and the app will pull from your radar page to generate the perfect introductory email. All you have to do is personalize it with some quick info about why that specific school caught your attention. Then you hit send. The message goes straight from your inbox to theirs, and it's that simple. You do not need to pay thousands of dollars for an email service that might not even get results. For the same price as a month of Netflix, you can start sending emails that actually help you stand out. The recruiting process always rewards athletes who take initiative. Athlete Narrative helps you take that initiative faster. Download the app today using the link in this podcast description. Greetings, Information Superhighway. Welcome to another episode of the Nail the Recruiting Process podcast. Last week, we started our dive into 3x3 play with the amazing Catherine Plouffe, who talked about what it takes to compete at the highest levels of international 3-on-3 and also spoke at great lengths about the developmental potential of 3-on-3 basketball and how it could impact your decision-making, your resilience, and your quickness. With part two of that dive into 3x3 is a coach that recently had amazing exposure with some members of his team at a 3-on-3 invitational Team USA tournament. My guest today is my good basketball buddy, Blake Dudonis. Right now, Blake is an assistant coach at Fairfield University, and there's a lot of awesome things to talk about with the Fairfield University staff. Blake's brain is only one amazing brain to pick on this staff. It is one of the best coaching staffs, period, not just at the mid-major level, and they run their team like it. And you'll hear in the way that Blake communicates that he represents a very, very special staff. Working opposite that very, very special staff is a loaded locker room. They have done an outstanding job recruiting high-level talent and retaining the talent that they've developed, especially in this NIL and portal-heavy era. You'll hear him talk about how a lot of that has come about for them. But the combination of having this really awesome staff with a number of different members of the staff that have head coaching experience and this loaded team is success. Shouldn't really surprise anybody. Fairfield has been unreal, especially over the last two seasons, as they've installed more of their principles, gotten more of their natural recruits in the program. Fairfield went from this team is really, really good to, okay, this team is pushing the envelope of what a mid-major team in the Northeast can look like. And they've set it as their mission to become the Gonzaga of Northeast women's basketball, which I think is pretty dope. In the last two seasons, the Fairfield women have lost one conference game. And the higher the stakes go, the better they seem to play as a team, including this past season when a number of young players had to step up after reigning player of the year Janelle Brown tore her ACL. Now, Fairfield's style of play, which we'll talk about over the course of the podcast, happens to lend itself pretty well to the 3-on-3 game. And Team USA basketball took notice of that. So Fairfield was one of the few mid-major programs in the nation that was invited to a Team USA 3x3 tournament. This tournament took place in the beginning of May, and it featured not only teams made up of great universities. We're talking the highest level of Division I women's basketball and a few select mid-majors that do an outstanding job. It also featured current professional basketball players and current representatives of USA 3-on-3 basketball at international tournaments. This was a who's who of sensational young women's basketball players, and Fairfield was a part of it. Now, what you're going to hear Coach Blake talking about is the preparation it took to ready themselves for that tournament, and then what he learned about the game of 3-on-3 itself while he was at the tournament. This conversation is super, super insightful. So the order of events here, you're going to hear him talking about what it's been like to help build Fairfield to where it is now. We're going to then dive into 3-on-3 and have a really good chat about what 3-on-3 can teach, how he uses it with his team, what the prep looks like, what the coaching looks like. It's a can't miss discussion. And then we're going to close it out with some great recruiting advice from a guy who himself has picked the brains of so many great, great coaches that, in my opinion, his philosophy is a philosophy of best practices. Hearing what he has to say, especially about how you can showcase yourself as a recruit when you're trying to network to college coaches, is can't miss. So let's just get into it. If the whole thing's can't miss, I might as well stop gatekeeping it, right? Here comes Blake Dudonis. Let's dive in. The well-traveled Blake Dudonis. Good to see you, buddy.
You too, man. I appreciate you having me.
I'm really excited to talk about a lot of different things with you. I want to set the table. We'll say it this way. I want to set the table for the 3-on-3 experience and talk about your time with the Stags first. First and foremost, congrats on another MAAC championship. Awesome to follow. In addition to just being a fan of, what you, the rest of the staff have done and the players on your team, having scouted against you guys previously, it's also just really fun to watch the way you play and the selflessness that your team plays with. And then something I really wanted to pick your brain about, especially with this year's run, the pretty immediate adversity that your team hit early on with the loss of Nelly. Can you talk me through, what it was like to see some of your younger players step into bigger roles, some of your veterans embrace different roles? How was that experience?
Yeah, I think the beauty of our success, and thank you for the praise. It's been special to be a part of. I think a huge undervalued part of our success is that we have not played a single player more than 29 minutes a game the last 2 years. Like we don't play kids 30 minutes because we play 10 players. We have a 10-player rotation. And so when Nelly went down in the third quarter against Villanova, and she plays so hard, so there's like once a game she has to like sub out because she got hurt. But that one felt different when it happened. And so there was a little bit of a, the air got taken out of the room. But to our team's credit, the other 9 that kept playing and even the kids on the end of the bench are walk on, they're like, okay, like we're good. Like, we're fine. We still have our full rotation. We lost 1 player. And so they really didn't blink. I got to give them credit. Like, we didn't even have to really address it. And then Nelly, being Nelly, comes back 5 minutes later, jumping up and down on one leg behind the bench, which I don't think you're allowed to do, just cheering on her team the rest of the way. So she's like, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. So
right.
It was cool because it was pretty seamless. And so the next game we played St. John's and ended up losing by, I think, 8. And then we won 19 straight after that. And I do think it's a testament to how we play. Like, we are, the way we play, if you watch us, it is a we over me. And, the players who lead us in scoring, the Katie Lambs, the Meg Andersons, the Nellies, they pop out because they're so talented, but we're not feeding them or force feeding or anything like that. Like, we just play. And the ball tends to find the right people at the right time. And then you look up and, oh, that kid had 20 today. Oh, that kid had 30 today. And so for us, the way we play, it's like, yeah, we lost a really valuable player in Nelly, but it doesn't change how we play. And so I think that is one of the times, like, not system over players, but like the system really helps because we recruit a ton of good players and we just kind of keep going along.
I want to focus a little bit on the system. Something that I think is really, really unique, not just in mid-major D1, like just unique in general about your team, is how well your coaching staff teaches role definition to your players. And I know you and I have talked prior to this podcast about when Katie and Meg were first years, the way that they embraced very deliberate role definition. And, I remember being part of a scout where I was basically just like, yeah, Meg is going to run the court, and she's going to get the ball, and she's either going to shoot or she's going to get rid of it if she doesn't like what she has. And like, you won't like, that's what she'll do. There wasn't ever an option C. And for any coach that's listening to this, freshmen only do option C. Yeah. That's sort of what it is. So I'd love to pick your brain, as a curious coach. Talk to me about your emphasis on role definition and how that process looks of getting Meg to that point of this is what you do. You keep it moving if it doesn't work, because I feel like your young kids flourish in those roles.
Yeah, I think the summer is definitely a testing ground of sorts, right? We're throwing new concepts, we're throwing new ideas, and we kind of just let that go. We let it be a little ugly at times, but then once we get to the fall, the early fall, September, October, we've had 8 weeks of data and everything. And so we're able to sit down with these kids and have honest conversations with statistical information. Because if we do anything live and it's even-sided, so 3v3, 4-5s, whatever, we stat it right. In terms of, shooting percentages from 2, from 3, assist to turnover ratio. So we're not just going in saying, hey, like you're forcing up tough shots. Hey, you're shooting 22% from 2. How can we fix that? Is it the type of shots? Are we shooting too much? Are we shooting too little? Right. And so we are able to have those conversations with those kids with data. So the emotion part's kind of out of it. It's not just, oh, coach is picking on me. Like, no, like or like Meg, I mean, she shoots like 50% from 3 in practice. So, hey, Meg, keep shooting the ball, please. Right. Like it's like a crime if you only took 3 threes during practice, like shoot the dang ball. And so I think that piece has helped. Because they do realize it's not just, it's not an opinion. It's fact based, and it's matter of fact. And we share the stats every week, so it's a constant communication. And I give credit to my other assistants too. Of like we do a ton of film watching with those kids too, so they understand what it looks like. Cyan Ko was a freshman this year who ended up number 2 in the country in field goal shooting. Shot 69% as a freshman. Now I think she averaged like 3.5, 4 shot attempts per game, and that was appropriate, right? And for Meg, her freshman year, she probably took like 15 a game, which was appropriate. And so I think when they are like with Cy, it's like, hey, like we don't need you to score 14, 15 points a game. Like we need you to come and be solid, rebound, defend, and when you get the ball one-on-one, go score. Meg last year was like, yeah, go score 15 a game, kid. And so I think what even those 2 roles are really different. Both those kids felt invested and felt good about like, okay, this is well researched, well studied, right? And there's a reason behind this, and I think they latch on to that because they know it's sound.
Data is really helpful.
Yeah,
you just alluded to the elimination of emotion in certain conversations. Knowing what some of your previous experiences are in coaching, I'm sure you've had a conversation where you tried to approach it objectively. Doesn't always go over well with the person. I'm sure there's a lot of younger coaches or coaches at the high school level that are interested in what you just shared about kind of objectivity in the conversation. Mm-hmm. Would you say, or maybe can you speak to how data has helped you take emotion out of that conversation and maybe allowed the recipients to be a little bit less guarded?
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, it's huge, and it's better because, as you know, man, like you can be trying to approach something as straight and as honest as you can, and there's unintentional bias in your own head. Like you just don't you don't even know it's there, and so even if you're really trying to figure it out, it exists. And so I think it's made us better coaches. Even if we go like more big picture, like towards the end of last year, we were seeing some issues when we subbed, and it wasn't a lack of talent like we talked about. Like we have good players, so what is it? And so we did some like deep dives into some like lineup data, and I know that's not something a lot of high schools or other people have, but we started looking, and we had 3 players that when they played, if you took any 2 of those 3 and played them with anyone else, numbers are great. But when those 3 were in together, no matter who the other 2 were, it didn't work for whatever reason. And I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, it wasn't like, oh, well, they all shoot, or they all play the same way. I don't know. But the math is telling us, don't do it.
Right.
And so Carly would say, like, our head coach, like in the game, if those three are in, let me know ASAP, and we need to fix it, right? Like, and maybe it's like, we'll do it right before the media to get someone breather, but otherwise, hey, the three are in, we gotta change this up. And so it just again, even in ways that you don't realize, it can just help you make more informed decisions.
Something else that I really, really value about what you just shared is it's a reminder that the coaches are humans too, right? Like we don't have this perfectly down. So like I noticed this thing and I'm going to tell you about this thing that I noticed. And now I'm in the driver's seat to help you fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right.
We don't need to make everything rocket science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes we can just coach basketball. It's really,
and it's okay to figure it out. Right. And like, I don't know. Like, let's try this. Right. It's like I got a hypothesis. So let's do a test study and see how it goes.
Well, you know what? Let's now explore one of my favorite hypotheses of yours, at least in recent years. The Roadrunners, more affectionately, the Meeps.
Yeah.
You got?
I got Roadrunner stuff everywhere. I've become the Roadrunner guy. Like someone brought this in. It's like a whole factoid on
that
Roadrunners.
Is so awesome.
Yeah, I've become like a bird guy, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's a thing.
So watching the evolution of this again as someone, familiar with playing against Fairfield is wild. This is before your arrival to Fairfield. Callie Kavanaugh is already a problem, right? Mm-hmm. She wins the league with the previous coaching staff, is a great player on a great team, and then plays a completely different brand of basketball for you the next season and explodes in this role. And then you think you're like, okay, we're going to have a reprieve from that. And then Meg Anderson shows up. What was your goal when you first kind of wanted this identity to be embraced? What was your goal?
I'll tell you, it has been a self-evolving thing for sure. Because I didn't really know, like going into year one, I knew Callie was really good. And we had Andrea Hernan-Gomez, who ended up getting hurt and missed most of that season. So we really, really kind of only was with Callie in terms of, big time production. And so it was a work in progress. But when Meg came in, Carly had kind of tasked me with, like, I want our post to have an identity. And I don't know why I thought of the Roadrunner. Like, it's silly. It's dumb. In a good way. Like I love it. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, silly and dumb's good. These are good. I like these adjectives. But like I framed it to the team and just talked to him. I'm like, the Roadrunner from the Looney Tunes, man. He's fast. He's running all over the place. He's dodging danger, and he's having fun, right? Like he's like, in the midst of chaos, he's maybe. And so for me, like us embracing it it meshed well with our overall standards and how we operate and how we approach things. So it's like, man, fast, versatile, still having some fun, like looking at the face of the enemy saying, come on. Like it just made sense. And so once I introduced it to the team, they loved it. Once I had to show them film, because not all of them knew who the Roadrunner was, which made me feel very old.
We're not the target demographic anymore.
Yeah. I see some gray in both beards on the screen. But they bought into it. And then since then, like it has really, truly evolved into this hilarious, larger than life thing that people just gravitate to. And I think it is because it's fun and it's silly, but people also get it, right? It's not hard to explain. Like once you say it, people are like, yeah, it makes sense. Now, they look at you sideways when you say Meep. But most people laugh and want to embrace it. So for me, it's been really cool because I really thought it'd be like an inside joke between me and 4 or 5 position players. And now we've got NIL gear and we've got all this stuff. So it's kind of taken on a life of its own.
Well, and it's funny. I have this memory of when you introduced it, and I'm a huge fan of the book Brands Win Championships. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this is genius. And then flash forward the next season, Roadrunner is a position title on your players' roster pages. Yeah. So it's like, oh, these kids are all in on it. This is so like, to me, that is, and by the way, I don't think brand is a bad word in the way I'm using it. Like if there is something that encapsulates an identity that the members of your team take pride in being a part of, I feel like that's a huge victory.
Yeah.
To flip it, how do you hold a Roadrunner accountable? Like, are you in a practice being like, that's not Meep worthy? Like, what is road running accountability for you? What are your Roadrunner standards?
It's funny that you say that, because there are times like we'll have, whether it's a local coach or another college coach, someone in our practice, and we'll start talking about Roadrunner stuff. And then I'll sit there and be like, these people must think we are nuts, right? Because there'll be times that we'll be like, hey, like Meeps, we got a Meep. Meep's got a Meep here. Like, and again, if you're walking in, you're like, what is happening here? But like, our kids know what that means. That means, yeah, we're not running the court well enough. We're not dominating the side enough. Like, Meep's got a Meep. Like, within the context, they know. And so it is a high standard of being committed to sprinting the floor. Again, everyone's different, right? Meg shoots the ball unbelievably well and plays great inside. Cyan is an unbelievable inside player who can't really shoot yet. We're getting there though. And so like, there's been times like literally, and I'm not like, if you come to our practice, I'm the most quiet of the staff by far. And I'm much more to the side or real quick. And so you'll see me like look at one, hey, me. And they'll know. Got you, coach. Got you, coach. So it's like we've got our own little language going too. Yeah.
This is. I love this so much. But I mean, this is, if I'm just visualizing, if I'm in college again, that's the kind of thing I'd want. Like, that's what I'd want my identity to be like I can take what I do really seriously, but I don't need to take myself really seriously. Like, I feel like that's the sauce right now with your position group.
Yeah. I think, and that kind of encapsulates how I operate with myself. Like, I take this unbelievably serious, but also self-deprecating humor every now and then. That's great. Laugh at yourself, have some fun with this thing. So yeah, I think I'm definitely projecting my own personal way of operating onto my position players.
I love that. So that's the micro, right? That's your position group amongst the squad. Obviously, when you're doing a scouting report, when the staff is fully coaching or getting the team ready, it gets bigger. And I want to focus on bigger for a moment, because there's another component to what you guys are doing at Fairfield that I'm really intrigued by. I was actually just having a conversation with my dad, Blake, and I was saying to him, like, I miss coaching, but during like NIL portal mania, like if I'm going to be sitting out during one like section of it, like it's okay that it's this section. And like, dude, you and I now know, what the market value of a top kid in our conference is.
Yeah.
If they were to go elsewhere, it's pretty bananas.
It's a lot.
And I think the ultimate sign of a solid program and a together program is I don't see very much in the transfer portal with Fairfield. So I would love to know what that sort of dynamic is like, what effort goes into keeping a team that's at the top of a mid-major conference together. And, what is that secret sauce that's keeping the Stags together right now?
Yeah, I think it is very multi-layered. It used to be when you see 3 or 4 kids leave a program, like, oh, what's going on there? And I still see people say that. I'm like, stop. Like, the game's changed. Like, unless 14 kids are leaving, like, it's fine.
Right.
I think we've had an unbelievable balance. Eric Johnson on our staff says it a lot of, hey, you don't want your kids to leave? Like, treat them better. And that's not the only thing. There's plenty of people who have treated their kids great who left because they got paid. So, like, right. I don't want to act like, so please don't misconstrue that, anybody. But I do think if you treat your kids really well, you have genuine, authentic relationships with them. I think if you push them, Carly talks about this a lot. It's because of the portal. There's like this, I think this like, I don't know, this myth that you can't coach kids hard, you can't push them because they'll just say screw you, get out of here. I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of kids want the truth and need the truth, and having someone that's willing to hold them to a standard and not budge, and not budge in a jerk way, but in a like, hey, no, you can meet these standards, and these are going to help you for the rest of your life. And you said you want to stay to them. We got you. We're going to hold you to them. Like I think kids are actually kind of longing for that because it's missing from a lot of areas of their lives. And so we treat them well, but we coach them up, and we hold our standard. Like we don't budge on that, and we also play a really fun style of ball. We're a mile from the beach. We've got one of the best facilities in the country, and academically, Fairfield's among the elites nationally. So I think if you take all that together, it equals what we've had, and we were really meticulous in recruiting. Carly never offers a kid a scholarship on her first phone call, like ever. So we take our time. So sometimes we're late offering a kid because we're like, well, we haven't had a chance to get to know you and your family, and we're not just gonna offer you because all these other schools did. Like we're intentional in that way. So I think part of it too is every kid we've gotten, we have not been surprised by anything because we knew them. Like we got what we thought we were getting, right? And some of them had some stuff, but we knew. And other kids are exactly what. So I just think the intentionality and the way we operate we've got the right type of people here, right? We've got our kind of people. And I think it equals out. And look, again, there's plenty of kids on our team that I'm sure there'd be a lot of P4s licking their chops to get a chance to talk to. But you keep treating them right, and you keep shooting for these big goals that we all have together. It's not just the staff saying this is what we want to do. Like these kids are bought into this too. Like we've done this together. And I don't. It's not the staff and the players. Like we collectively came here with a vision and are building towards this bigger, greater purpose together. And I think there's something about that.
You articulated a lot of things that, in truth, we could spend 6 hours right now talking about that response. I want to reduce the one thing, though, that really stands out to me, and perhaps it's because, my origin story is that I'm a self-loathing Jew from Long Island, New York. So, because of that, everywhere I go, I'm very critical of the group I'm in. I have always felt that a limitation of the coaching profession is we are way too hard on kids the wrong way when they're not on the same level as us. If you're not taking the same initiative as an 18-year-old, as me, a 38-year-old who literally does this professionally and it's my job, then we've got beef.
Yeah.
And when I'm hearing you say what you say and articulating no, we can push them, but we're going to treat them right. Mm-hmm. Something that I'm thinking about, and I'd love to hear your take on this, is this idea then that we're not going to change the standard and we're not going to move the obstacles. Mm-hmm. That's going to be where we push you. But maybe we can find a way to not be an animal toward you as you try to go over the obstacle. Is that sort of what you're alluding to?
Yeah, absolutely. And trying to show them, all right, you've tried to get around this wall 5 times. Let me show you the way. Let me show you a different way to approach it. Let me show you a different way to think about it, right? And sometimes, you got to let them run into the wall a couple times, right? And you back there. Hey, let's go. All right, come here, kid.
Right.
Where are you struggling? Right. We're big on asking questions and trying to help them find the answer as opposed to just give them the answer. It's something we're really intentional about doing. It's not if you come watch film with me and one of my players, it's very rarely, hey, look at this, do this. Look at this, do this. It's, hey, what do you think we could have done better there? And then they look at it and go, well, yeah, I'm like, what? No wrong answers. Guess, and they'll start talking out. And sometimes yeah, that's exactly right. Or I'll be like, but what about this? Oh, right. As opposed to just talking at them. Because again, they feel invested in their own growth development. And that's something we're really intentional about doing. Yeah.
Well, giving that ownership, I think, is really important. I think about these quote unquote radiator toucher moments, right? How often in your time scouting have you said, this kid literally going to shoot from anywhere, got to have a hand up on her wherever she is. And then one of your freshmen is going to get on the court and be like, Peh,
yeah,
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
Right. What productive thing comes out of me then, gritting my teeth and going, I told you she was a shooter. I think that's the kind of thing that we're talking about here.
Yes, yeah, because it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make them feel better, obviously, and it doesn't
Right.
actually make you feel better. So like, we are in a complete loss situation here. So let's try to find some more productive stuff, right? Yeah. Now on the fourth three, oh, you're gonna hear it. All right, for sure.
Right.
Right? Well, not even the fourth. I ain't letting you get the four. You're gonna be sitting right next to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
It's okay to have one.
absolutely. Yeah, I'll give you one for free. That's fine. But we ain't doing no BOGO specials over here. So
Yeah, no, I feel that. Okay, so this is good. The foundation of the Stags has been set, and I appreciate you being so in depth, especially when it comes to how you choose to coach and lead as a staff. Now we get to kind of talk about this 3x3 origin story.
yeah,
You end up in Arizona. There are not a lot of mid majors there, and there's also like pros there.
Yeah.
So I want to start, I guess, with an easy one, which is how does this come about? How does this opportunity come about?
Yeah, I mean, out of left field, to be honest with you. I mean, we'd wrapped up our off-season workouts and we're kind of, done and dusted. And then we got an email from USAB saying, hey, like we're having this event, and I don't know if someone dropped out or whatever. I presume that's what happened. And they said, we're obviously aware of your guys' success and just wanted to know if you'd have any interest. And I saw the email come in. Like I was on my email app, saw it come in. So 20 seconds later, Carly and I are like, yes, right? Yes, yes, yes. And so we got on the phone with the team that we took, and we kind of ran it by them. Like, look, we'll get to the details later, but here's the deal, right? You get a chance to go compete against pros and top tier players and the whole thing. And they were like, yes, whatever. We'll get the details later. So it really did come out of left field, and it was a no-brainer for us to jump on. And all four of those kids that ended up going, 2 returners and 2 graduating players, they were all could not have been happier about it.
I want to, before we dive into like the minutia of 3-on-3, talk about that group specifically. These are kids that you have great relationships with, and multiple starters, varying ages, and this thing just kind of gets thrown together, and you're coaching them. Like you are sort of, to steal the business term, the project lead. Yeah. Blake Dudonis. So my question, I guess, in your head, this is happening. It's dope. What balance are you looking to strike here with? They probably haven't done 3x3 before. How much structure and coaching am I giving them? How hard am I going with the X's and O's versus like YOLO, let's just go have the greatest experience ever? Like what's the balance?
Yeah, it was definitely more of the first. Like we are like, just the way we operate with our normal program, like we are not going out here and just being happy to show up. We're going to try to win.
I love that. Okay.
Right? We are going to try to win this freaking thing. And we understand that the likelihood is probably pretty low. If Vegas put odds on it, we understand we're a dark horse. Screw it. We're going to go out there and we're going to know what we're doing. Right. And so Carly and myself both just kind of threw ourselves into film, watching back Olympics and World Cups and European championships, going through the whole thing, strategizing offensively, defensively, kind of the whole thing. And so, none of our players had played it. And so introducing the concepts to them, thankfully we have an unbelievable group of scout guys that help us all year. And so when we told them what the deal was, coach, you let us know when we need to be there. So we were scrimmaging, true fours for each team, leading up. Like the girls would set up times with them, and those guys were there, so they were really helpful, and so they were learning the game too. And so no, we had, and I give the girls credit, like they came up with a lot of actions that they liked and thought made sense, and that they had the calls for, and it was like, yeah, you guys got it, because as you know, like once the game starts, I'm just in the stands as a fan. Like there's no coaching in the game; it's the players.
It's one of the things that makes 3-on-3 so unique. It's not pickup, but it gives you tremendous pickup vibes.
Yes, it does. Yes. And so it was really cool because it was like, yeah, you guys actually do need to have more of a good handle and feel on this than I do, because I can talk to you after the game, but when that clock starts at 10, it's all you. And so I thought our kids handled it and approached it with the same type of intensity of like, we are not going out there and getting embarrassed and looking ridiculous. Like, we are going to be organized. We're going to be together. And if we lose because we lose and then we just get beat, so be it. And so the approach going in, I thought was really well handled by everybody.
Is there a moment where you and Coach Carly are watching some of the international film and the Olympic film and you go, wait a minute, there's a lot of two-man away from the ball. We kind of do this already. Like this might not be so bad. Like, is there a moment that you're like, okay, we can transfer these skills?
Yeah, very quickly we were like, okay, yeah, this kind of looks like that drill we do 3 times a week, right? Like, yeah, no, there was definitely that realization, and I think there was some level of comfort for our kids of we do this already, and so I do think that gave them a little bit of peace, and like, yeah, we're good. Like, it's a little different, but it's not that different.
Yeah, I was very, very privileged, and I had Catherine Plouffe on the podcast last week. And I mean, if we're talking about the versatility and the two-man action required to be successful in 3x3, she's pretty good at it. Yeah. She shared with me that she feels like 3x3 is this like untapped resource for development and that more young people should be doing it. And the 2 big reasons she gave, one was the short-term memory required to play in a 12-second shot clock where you can literally outlet the ball and get it back in a second, that you just have to be focused on the next thing constantly. And then the second thing was, to your point just now about like that 3-on-3 two-man action drill. And especially with not as much help defense, if you make the right read, you pretty consistently get rewarded for making the right read. So especially after the experience you just had, could you see 3x3 becoming more of a developmental tool? Because it does seem like a tremendously gratifying thing when you get plays right.
It should. And I don't know why it wouldn't. And there's nowhere to hide, right? Like, you know, 5-on-5, you can hide someone on a bad defender, or you can hide a bad offense. Like,
the old bad corner trick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know it. Yeah. So, like, there's a big difference in being like 20% of the court as opposed to 33% of your team. Like, there's a big difference there. And so I think so. And I mean, I know we will be playing 3-on-3. I bet you come in our gym this summer, you're probably going to see us be playing 3-on-3 at some point in that workout. So yeah, I do think, because it's all the stuff too. It's handling in tight spaces. It's making the right reads. It's finishing one-on-one, you know, finishing off 1 foot, 2 foot. It's quick decision making. Like, I think it's fantastic. I can, especially when you're around a high level event like that, you get it, right? You're like, oh yeah, I see why there's leagues. I see why there's people making money playing 3-on-3. I see the thing. I see why there's specialists who, like, you know, I know a lot of people, when they tune into the Olympics, a lot of the kids are like, who are these people in these teams? They're really good at basketball, and they're really good at this type of basketball, right? Like, really, really good. And so I it was a little eye-opening for me too, because I had watched it and I had paid attention, but not anywhere near the detail that I had. And so now I'm locked in, man. I'm following all the 3-on-3 leagues. Like, I'm right. So into the sport now.
Well, the thing that stands out about it the most, and I guess what I would say is I'm thrilled that this lane exists, because it does exist in other sports, because they break down other sports by position, right? Like, in basketball, you can't really just be a specialist in one thing and play. In all these other sports, you can. The thing about 3x3 is there are people that are dominant 3x3 players that maybe at the zenith of their 5-on-5 careers were like role players that did one or two things really well. That's what I love about the 3x3 game, is the improvisation, the reads. You're constantly rewarding quick, smart basketball.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
yeah. And there's just so many ways you can do it. Like, I cracked up in our first game. We were playing a team of, you know, it was several SEC schools, and it was Taylor Jones from Texas, who I think is 6'6", and Katie Lamb, who's 5'6", on a good day, is sitting there banging with her on the boards. And I'm cracking up because, like, obviously you see that when you play a 5-on-5 game, but in 3-on-3, I'm like, no, these two are playing against each other, and it's not ridiculous. It's just like, yeah, that's the sport. Like, and that's what I think is really cool, because Taylor had a great, tournament for her team, and Katie had a great tournament for our team, and they both were able to be successful in it. So I think there's some uniqueness to the sport that's a little different than your traditional.
If we're talking about, by the way, attitude criteria for a 3-on-3 tournament, I feel like Katie Lamro is the quintessential 3-on-3 player. And also, I message you during the MAAC tournament when Katie Lamro hits like the back-breaking step back 3, and she does it in the 3x3 tournament.
Unbelievable. Like, I mean, it was so on brand. If you were there, or if the guy at the broadcaster wasn't talking, you would have heard me. And you could actually see me in the background of a lot of the celebrations of just, I think I was wearing this actually. I'm just going nuts, because as soon as she let it go, I had the perfect view. I'm like, that's in.
I'm determined now to find it, because it was on YouTube. I'm determined to find a replay of this and impose it over this part of the podcast. So
yeah, but yeah, absolutely. She was, it was so Katie. So
last thing I want to ask you about this before we turn the corner and talk recruiting to close it out. This happened very recently for you guys. So A, I'm so grateful that we got to reflect on this while it's fresh in your mind. Yeah. But B, as you reflect on this, because it's fresh in your mind, can you summarize the experience, the impact for you and the players? Because this is not the type of thing that comes around super frequently.
That's right. Yeah. Immensely grateful, obviously, to be included, and we represent ourselves well. I mean, we were the third highest team scoring wise in the tournament. We averaged almost 18 a game. Our defense needed to step up a little bit. But again, we're now at the point of our program where we're not happy being like, oh, good job, guys, like pat us on the back because we're cute little Fairfield. Like, we're like, honestly, like, we don't really want that validation anymore, because again, we went there to win. But I do love that we went and we almost, like, we lost that pro team by 4. We lost Oklahoma State by 2. Lost to South Dakota State by 2. Maybe one of those we lost by 3. But like, we competed and showed that we belonged. And I really was proud of our kids that throughout the whole thing, there was immense gratitude. I mean, one of our kids literally, so you get one practice session on the court the day before the tournament starts. And one of our kids, our graduating kids, Rihanna Brown, like, she stopped shooting at one point and she looked around and she literally grinned. She goes, y'all, this is so cool.
Right.
And that's like so that dope. Moment for me was so cool, right? Like, I'm like, yes, it is. It is so cool that we're here and we're with these guys. It makes me like emotional thinking back to that moment. And the whole time they were so grateful and they were thanking everyone that helped them. There's rebounders during warm-ups and they're thanking them and they're grateful. And then like, they were pissed when we lost.
Right.
And when they were watching film, they were like dialed in. They were talking about, no, this needs to be better. And they were pushing each other. I mean, because during the timeouts, I can hear them because I'm in the stands, but I'm not saying anything. But you can hear them holding each other accountable. Hey, you got to get in there and rebound that ball. We've got to get second chances. My bad, I got you, right? Seeing them respond in that competitive environment where a lot of people, if you give them the results, they probably would have said, good job, Fairfield. Nice little job. And our kids left there going, nah, man, we're pissed. Like, we want to make the knockout rounds, and we didn't. And so an honor, obviously. Anytime you get to wear USAB across your chest is a big deal. And I just, again, I'm so proud of our kids for recognizing the magnitude of the thing that they had earned, because they earned that opportunity,
You just said something really, really interesting to me. You talk about this idea of having a program that, as you want to continue pushing and building the standard of the program, they're not just happy with the participation. They want to win. They want to take it. As we change gears to talk about components of recruiting, I continue to be surprised as I work with and meet more young people. They still don't realize that, like, that competitive spirit is something we're recruiting. That is something that we want to find in people. I'm judging you, and I don't like to do this, but I know you as a friend, so I'm going to say I'm judging your body language, and I'm interpreting what you just did as yeah, that's a thing.
Dude, it's funny because when we talk about Katie Lamb, or we just call her Lamb, but when we talk about Lamb, she like is the embodiment of a dog. And I know people say, "Oh, she's a dog," whatever. Like, frankly, BS. Katie Lamb's a dog, and
Yes.
there ain't many of her around. So all you other people that are calling yourselves dogs, like if you're not up to her level, like no, you're not a dog. And so that edge and that competitiveness, and it is something we've actually talked about. Like, okay, so we graduate Lamb in 2 years. Like, we need to make sure we get another dog in here before then. Year one, she was kind of a wild dog, right? She was a little like, we had a, whoa, hey, oh, we kind of ran her in a little bit. And so like, we were like, yeah, if we can get someone in here and give them a year to work with her and kind of let her show them the way, it's going to set us up for success moving forward. Cause there's times she wills us, And so we offered a kid that's going to come on a visit next month that the deciding edge of why we're like, that kid's a dog. And everyone we talked to said that kid's a dog. And that's what we talk about. Like, are you telling me that kid gets to play with King Lamb for a year? Like, come on, let's go. Like, she wants to win. She's whatever. And again, is it always the right way? No, but that kid's 17 years old. Like, we can help channel that when they get here, right? Like, that's our job.
Regardless of what your personality is, when you're a teenager, it's not fully together. It's our job as coaches to refine it.
That is part of our job. So, like, no. But if you've got that innate thing that's already in your chest, and we'll fix it. I think we're good enough coaches to figure that part out. So it's absolutely a massive part of our eval. Even if they're not to Katie's level, if you don't have a certain edge about you and a certain want to, not going to be for us.
So one of the challenges, building right off what you just shared, one of the challenges I'm seeing on my end is I'll talk to people and I'll kind of say, so who have you been talking to? Who's recruiting you? And to use your school as an example, I say, well, Fairfield is extremely interested in me, or Fairfield's, I think Fairfield's into me. Yeah. And, I think because of what I do in my experience level, I'm one of the few people that says back to them, like, can you give me some examples of what that looks like if they're interested in you? So I have someone like you here. Help me set the record straight. If you are actively interested in a current sophomore or junior, you want them to play at Fairfield, what does that look like and sound like? And like, what are your interactions with that prospective student athlete?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking pretty frequent communication. Sophomores, maybe it's once a month. We're not trying to overwhelm or overdo it, but like, I look at like the 26 class, right? The current juniors, rising seniors, like the kids we are at minimum texting with them every week, right? And usually a coach is calling them every week, right? But it is constant communication. And we do preliminary phone calls for kids all the time. But if I called a kid in, I don't know, March, that's the only time we talked, kid's probably on the B list, right? The backup list, which is fine. But like when we're talking about seriously recruiting or they're really interested, constant communication. And I would, again, every situation's different. I would define constant as at least monthly, likely bi-weekly, if you're actually truly in that consideration.
And again, because you're you and I trust you, given our relationship away from this podcast, I want to toss out another hypothetical, which is that you can't push the river when it comes to this sort of stuff. We love it when players take initiative, so don't get me wrong. You getting film into the hands of a coach is great. Emailing, texting coaches is great. But there's no situation where you can really make the staff, like, love you. You're not going to jump 90 spots up a list simply by, being persistent. They have to kind of catch the bug on their own. It has to be in the way they eval you, correct?
That's right. Yeah. The way to push the river is go ball out, right? And go play and go perform. That's how you do it. 100%.
Love that. On the subject of taking the initiative, which I constantly encourage athletes to do, you are one of my coaching friends that has in jest forwarded me bad emails before and been like, hey, is this the kind of stuff you're teaching? And It's tough because we can only impact so many young people. There are only so many young people willing to honestly listen and take the input from us and be coachable when it comes to it. But why don't you walk me through what you perceive to be bad email etiquette, or maybe some Blake Dudonis pet peeves?
I mean, I don't know. You want me to like pull some up and read them? No, I won't do that. Look, I do not mind. I don't mind mass emails. Like I don't mind you having a big copy paste email. Like that's fine because especially if you're trying to put yourself out there, you're trying to get yourself seen. I get it. But if you can tell it's a copy paste email, it's just not going to be treated with the same level of severity. Now, part of my role in the staff is any interest email I get or we get, it's sent to me. Like if you didn't email me and you emailed Coach Erica, she'll send it to me. And like, I'm going to look at it. I will read it and I will look at it. And most of the time I'm going to click your little highlight film and I'm going to watch it. And sometimes it's for 10 seconds and I already can tell, nope, you're not good enough. But it is the lack of genuine connections, right? Like, and again, I get it. I was a 17-year-old kid that wanted to be recruited at one point. But if your main objective is, I just need a school, I just want a school, anyone, help me. Like, that ain't us. Like, I don't know what you think Fairfield is, but that ain't it. And so, like, I need to know, like, you actually want Fairfield to recruit you, right? Because I mean, I had a kid that in their headline or in their title of the email said, "Your next Roadrunner." So I'm reading that email, right? Because that's a kid who was paid attention,
did their homework, knows what they're talking about.
Yes, and her email was super basic, and it was probably copy and pasted. But she did enough research to make me go, okay, she actually knows who we are and knows what we're about, right? And so I can get on board with that. But the Mass General, I mean, the wrong school and the wrong name. That was a new one, Jerry. Last week, I got put on an email with a whole staff of another team in our league. So that was fun. So it was head coach, 2 assistants, and Coach Blake at Fairfield.
Yikes.
And so, I mean, that kind of stuff is the bare minimum, but just showing any level of intentionality of, I want to go to Fairfield. I love the Northeast. I've seen how successful you've been. Just like, and to me, it's so lazy not to, and you're just wasting your time. It's not about being lazy. It's just you are wasting your time. Like, make concentrated effort on places you actually care about and you can actually play.
I want to frame this. You're such a good and kind person, and God, I love you for it. And I want to frame this in a bit more bold of a way,
okay?
Because I know you'll agree, and this way you don't have to say it.
Okay.
College coaches are looking for people that are going to take their coaching and work really hard, right? So if their very first impression of you is that you won't take 3 extra minutes to proofread, to personalize, like if your very first step in the door is, I'm taking a shortcut, why would they like suspend disbelief and be like, yeah, of course this person is not going to take shortcuts if we bring them here?
It's well said. Well said. Great.
Thank you. I appreciate you. This is, you talked about having access and opening every email and reviewing everything you get. Your former assistant, Shelby Lyman, said something very, very similar to me. And I want to kind of push you on this real quick. Let's say you get an email and it's someone, you look at the first 10, 20 seconds of their films and it's a prospective Roadrunner. So you roll your sleeves up. You're like, okay, this is my position group. What are the things that you're looking for that would really get you interested in a prospective Roadrunner for Fairfield?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we value versatility here, right? So we love people that can do everything. We love people that can shoot, that can score inside. Like shooting, we do put a premium on because of how many we shoot. But our rule is like, if you can't shoot, what are you elite at otherwise? Because I mentioned Cyan for us, like she's not a shooter, like she cannot shoot, but she is an elite rebounder, and she's at 69% from the field. It's a true freshman. She is an elite finisher. We can work with that, right? And so that's kind of our litmus test is, can you shoot? If not, what are you elite at? Not good at, elite at. So I would say a lot of people, use Swiss Army knife as a compliment. When I hear that, I kind of, I don't like that. Cause like, if I need a pair of scissors, am I going to get a pair of scissors or am I going to get a Swiss Army knife and use those scissors? Right. If I need a knife, am I going to get the little Swiss Army knife or am I going to get a knife? Right. Like, I don't want the Swiss Army knife. It's like, if you need it, it can do. Give me a pair of scissors, man. Go be a pair of scissors. Right. And be a really good pair of scissors. And so, if you're really good at all that stuff, that's a different story. But like, just like, what are you good at? So like when I watch a kid's film, show me what you're good at, right? Like I'll step away real quick from not a Roadrunner. Let's say it's a 5'1" point guard, and like the second clip is like her blocking a kid's shot. I'm like, you're not a shot blocker. You're 5'1", like, and that's fine. But like, why are we wasting time with this? Like, what are you good at? So when I see a Roadrunner that's like, yeah, coach, I can stretch the floor from 3, and I watch a 2-minute video, and I see one made 3. I go, well, that tells me you can't shoot, which is fine, but you said you could shoot. So like, what are we doing here? So that's what I always want. Like, show me, like, because you're maybe going to get a coach to watch it for 2-3 minutes, right? So what are you good at? Show it to me. Show it to me now, right? And I'm good if you divide up in sections of like, hey, here's all my inside. Here's all my shooting. Here's all my passing, whatever. But if you're not doing that, man, like that first minute through, it shouldn't just be right hand layup, right hand layup, right hand layup, right hand layup. Oh, okay, that's all you do then, in my mind's eye. And we're getting 10 of these emails a day, right? So that's what I would say.
Oof, you just really helped me with the segue for where I wanted to wrap with you. You're getting
Locked in.
tons of emails every day on recruits.
Yep.
Tons of emails every day on recruits. And also, thanks to the modern generation of basketball, your recruiting pool is double the size because you could just as easily find a transfer athlete. So my question to you is, if you had an open podium to a room full of young high school kids that want to play college ball, but might not understand the current landscape and what it really takes to get yourself recruited and get yourself, a scholarship offer, what would your advice for those kids be, and how would you set that table for them?
That's a good question. I'll start by just saying, like, us at Fairfield, we are recruiting 4-year players, and we want 4-year players. So, like, just for the record, we use the portal to supplement and fill gaps. But we are actively, like, we signed 4 freshmen this incoming year. For the 26 class, we want to sign 3 or 4 freshmen. Like, we've got 1 transfer this year. So we've got 4 freshmen and 1 transfer. So don't tell me all people are doing is doing transfers. Like, we're not. Like, we want.
May I add, I love that for development reasons, and that's why a lot of us got into the profession. So big thumbs up.
Thank you. That is exactly the point. So, yeah. But what I would say is, especially players that are going to have to, and I'd say most people are going to fall in this bucket of like, you're going to have to take your recruitment into your own hands, is being open-minded and willing to truly consider what level can you play at, right? And I say this, and not in a rude way or an arrogant way, but like, we're in the top 25 last year, right? We got votes this last season in the top 25. Like, we are a program that has proven we're a top 50 program in the country, right? So for a high school senior to email us November for senior year saying, I'd love to talk to you about, like, come on, man. Like, you don't have any offers, anything, like, it's not realistic, right? It's the same. I'd say the same thing. I see some of these kids on Twitter, tweet to Dawn Staley, like, come watch me, coach. And it's like, come on, man. Like, what? Come on. Like, so being honest with yourself of like, what matters to you, what, find the right fit. And there's so much good basketball, not at that level, South Carolina level or our level or the Division I level or even D2 level. Like, there's so much good. There's so many good environments and situations and schools and programs. So I would just encourage people to be honest with themselves and be open-minded about it, right? On the same account, we had a kid email us like, hey, coach, I've got like 5 Division I or Division II offers, but like, I really want to play D1, which I get, but also like, man, you got 5 D2 offers? That's so cool. Like, good for you. That's amazing. Like, I hope you're really taking those with seriousness that they deserve. And so I think that's what I would tell people, and to value that. And again, you can have aspirations and goals of, playing and competing at the highest levels possible, but also going somewhere that makes sense for you. We talk about a lot in recruiting because we often recruit against Power 4 schools, Big East schools, and And we've lost kids before that'll, well, I just want to compete at the highest level, coach. When you're sitting on the bench or you're losing and it's late January and you go back to your dorm sad and you're on a 10-game losing streak, you will not be comforted by the fact that, well, at least I'm playing in the ACC. Like, no, you're going to be sad because you're on a 10-game losing streak, right? And so, like, finding your fit. So the same way for, like, oh, I got to D1 and I'm not playing ever, but it's okay. I'm at D1. No, if you're a competitor, like, that's not going to fulfill you. And so I would encourage people to find something that's actually going to fulfill you, which I think is people that will treat you well, that will push you to reach the goals you want, and to be around a group of people that are like-minded. And if you want to compete and play, I think that matters.
Not only an incredible take, but a take that echoes the sentiment of many of my recent podcast guests who found their fulfillment in different places. And, you know, of course, you could be a believer that things happen for a reason, but you working on your own self-awareness and seeing what's actually out there, that helps you find your reasons now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Jay, I'll say this, like, people say to us, like, man, I can't believe you guys are still at Fairfield, right? Like, do you know how many opportunities the staff has had to leave Fairfield for a bigger school? Who cares? Like, we love this place. We love our administration. We love our kids. We love how we can do what we do and do it the right way and do it in this special way that we've kind of captured the imagination of a lot of people, right? Both in this community and outside of it. Like, people like the Stags, right? Because it's different. And like, yeah, we could have gone and left, and Carly could have made more money, and Erica and Eve and myself, we could have all gone and what, but like, this is our fit. This is our place. These are our people. And there's such value in that. And there's no mistake. And the same, we talked Katie, Nellie, Meg, whoever, all could have gone bigger and bigger. Like, big time's where you make it, man. Like, this place operates like a big time program because we think we are a big time program. And it's because we made it. We decide. And like, people always talk about, oh, this place, that place. Every place, all that is people. Everything is people. That's it, right? You take any group of people and move it to another place, that place becomes great because of the people.
Right.
And so I know I'm a little ranty right now, but like, truly and sincerely. Okay, good. I think people lose sight of like level and this and that. Man, who are your people? Who are you with? Who are you doing with it? That is the big time. So I don't care if you're playing at, I don't know, Spring Arbor University in Michigan, which I think is NAIA, or if you're playing at, you know, Finlandia, a D3 up in Michigan, or you're playing at South Carolina. Like, big time is wherever you decide is big time.
I love it. You know,
you didn't think Finlandia was going to get mentioned. Finlandia University didn't realize they were getting a shout out on this podcast.
Well, now look at how surprised they're going to be when I make them a collaborator on a reel. They're going to be like, I don't know who the hell this guy is, but thanks for the shout.
I pulled that one out. That was a left field one. That's a real school, for the record.
Yeah, you know what that is? That's how we know you coach D3. That's
right.
It is.
That's exactly
right. There should be like a Jeopardy category of like, these are real D3 schools.
Yes.
And then
yeah, that's right. Finlandia very much gives like Lion Witch in the wardrobe. Like, oh, we're going to Finlandia through the wardrobe. I've been there, and I think I had to go through a wardrobe. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the school that's out there in a similar region, and I know that their mascot is the Fightin' Scots, and I'm drawing a blank on their name.
Yeah.
But they had the dopest logo ever. That was like something that stood out to me during my D3 time.
That's good. Yeah. You know, by the way, if anyone listening to this, if you ever see me in real life, a little fun party trick I have is if you name a Division I school, I can name you the mascot. Like, I can tell you the nickname of the school. So some D3, some D2s, like I got a little peppered knowledge, but like, if you ask me, I don't know how many D1s there are now, like 380. If we went through all 380, I bet you I would get 372 of them.
This is good. This is, by the way, maybe as like a bonus feature, we're going to have you back and just start a clock, and I'm literally just going to yell conference names.
Just go. Just do it. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to have people yelling. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to go recruiting in a week or in July, and people are just going to start, shouting out, Cal
Name
Bakersfield.
me every college that's a Bulldog.
UTRGV. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
I cannot thank you enough for making this time super informative. And again, just so happy for you, for the whole squad, for all the recent success, man. Thanks again for everything.
I appreciate you, man. I love what you're doing. I think it's so important. It's impactful. I listen to everything. I watch everything, and I just think it's really great for people to have the opportunity to learn from someone who knows what they're talking about because you've been there. And I can't say how valuable it is to people. And just on a human level, I just think the world of you. And so I know you probably don't appreciate me turning the spotlight towards you, but I appreciate you and who you are. And I just love that you are in this space, and I think our game is better because of you.
I appreciate you, and I can't wait to tell my wife that I earned another fridge magnet. But thanks so much.
Go Stacks.
That's going to do it for another episode of the Nail the Recruiting Process podcast. For more information about my Nail the Recruiting Process project or the work that I do with individuals or teams, please visit www.nailtherecruitingprocess.com. If you have ideas for podcast guests, questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, or you just want to reach out and say hi, please feel free to email me anytime at recruitinggear@gmail.com. That's the word recruiting, the word gear, all one word, at gmail.com. Finally, follow me on social media at Nail the Recruiting Process on Instagram. That's my home base for all news, updates, and content. Take care, everybody. Thanks for listening.